Hey guys, Chris here, and I want to talk about approval from women today from a side of enmeshment, a guy who's enmeshed with his mother, how the guy is looking for validation for his mum, but also for other women in general, and very much this how the sort of the guy has been conditioned to get the validation from the mother, whether it's to agree with them on something, and then hence how throughout the life always looking for approval from women, which makes the guy less attractive to women because he can't stay in his own masculine power. He needs to get women's approval, he needs to get women to like him. So generally what happens is won't voice his own opinion because he wants to get women's approval. And the one thing that's always lacking, the guy is always wanting the mum's approval throughout life, as I've sort of found. And what you want to do is you want to become aware of this voice that's inside yourself that wants your mum's approval, and you have to discern from it. You have to sort of say, look, I need to give the validation to myself. I want to separate from my mum. We're two separate people, and vice versa as well. Maybe she's wanting your validation, but you need to get to a point where you're just getting the validation from either yourself and from other men as well in particular. Of course, it's good to get the validation as well from everyone, from women as well. But if this is your main focus, if this means that, you always need women's approval, like you don't want them to disagree. And what will normally focus is the guy will focus then on one or two women in his life who he's not getting approval from, which will be very similar to that of the relationship with the mum. And the main reason why you won't get the approval from your mum or from women is because they see something different. Maybe those women are more in their they're not necessarily their power, but they have their own opinions. And it's okay to disagree. This is the thing, for a son and a mother to disagree on stuff is perfectly natural, but not in an enmeshed family where it's like everything has to be together. It's like, if mum understands and I understand, then I'm safe. And that's kind of how it is as a child. It's like me and mum together, and that needs to break free. And when you start to break free, you'll start to look for less validation from women. Relationships with women will improve, but also you'll be more in your masculine power because there's so much energy which is being drained. And because of enmeshment, because of boundaries, it's not okay for conflict, it's not okay to have boundaries, and it's not okay to disagree on stuff. Validation can come from yourself. So it's kind of like, okay, well, if me and my mum agree on this and we're together, we're enmeshed together. So the way to do it is to become aware of it, to break free. What I found useful is just having a log diary. And what you start to notice is it's like kind of like for the enmeshed guy, the guilt trips and all this stuff. It's like your mum's voice in your head. The famous film Psycho, Norman Bates in that movie, who stabs the woman in the shower, is all to do with enmeshment. Obviously, it's on the other complete opposite end of the spectrum where it leads to murder. But it's again the sort of the mothers in their head, making them feel guilty. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. Because again, the mother is trying to control the son to meet her needs and wants him to be perfect and wants to be happy, but that's not necessarily true, So yeah, I wanted to mention that in terms of getting the validation, the validation has to come from yourself, comes from your friends, comes from safe people. Be aware of where you're not getting the validation and look to kill it, look to end looking for that validation, because we spend so much time chasing validation from people who don't give it to us, and it is an unconscious program that plays out, which just allows us to keep feeling that feeling of not feeling good enough. And if we don't feel good enough, we're obviously going to keep looking for validation from people who make us not feel good enough. And then when we feel good enough, when we know that we're good enough, we will stop looking for validation from other people. So I hope that makes sense, guys, and yeah, look out for the next video.